What's going on, guys? LightningSnow back today with another video. Today, I have my good friend Loco back with me. Say, everybody.
Hey, what's up, y'all? How y'all doing today? Glad to be back on the channel once again.
For sure. So today, we have like a bit of a spit take video I wanted to do. Full disclosure, this is a pretty interesting video. I got brought up with it a couple weeks ago when I was watching a clip of Naruto from this specific arc on YouTube, and I had made a slight-ish comment. So for context, what we see is it's Kakashi versus Sasuke, but in a different way. It's more of what would happen if Kakashi had gone to the Sasuke retrieval mission in the beginning of Shippuden instead of Yamato. For context, like I said, we'll just skip the semantics about it and say like this is just a 100% full chakra early Shippuden Kakashi, so not War Arc or Pain Arc or 5 Kage Summit, none of that. This is early Shippuden from like pretty much the Kazekage rescue, going on the same mission with Naruto, Sakura, and Sai. Again, full disclosure, I got brought up with this on YouTube. So, the latter part of the arc, when the reunion actually happens and Sakura and Naruto see Sasuke for the first time. Sasuke, obviously, there's some casual banter going on, and it's like, oh, Sakura, you came, and Naruto, you came too, and this and that. And then he proceeds to say, so I assume Kakashi is here too? And obviously, Yamato comes out and says, like, well, unfortunately, Kakashi couldn't make it. And in that scene that I saw on YouTube, I kind of made a little comment in the beginning of the video saying, like, Sasuke's thinking, oh, thank God, this would be a whole lot tougher if he was here, as a joke. Needless to say, that kind of got a trend of comments stirred up in the comment section. And I told Logo there was at least like 500 comments. I got taken down, but there was like a whole comment section going back and forth. So someone had messaged me on Instagram and asked me about the situation. He and I kind of got in a little bit of a tussle about it. We gave our opinions about it. And yeah, I was like, I'll do a video about this. So anyway, that's what the context is. What would have happened if Kakashi had gone to the Sasuke retrieval mission? So Loco, you got anything to say before we start?
I think the best way to break down this topic is to figure out exactly where Yamato stacks up to Kakashi. Like, how strong is Yamato compared to Kakashi? And me and LightningSnow were going over this earlier. It's like, this man Yamato doesn't really do anything either in this arc or like throughout most of the series. Like, we don't see him do that much of anything. Like, there is this one vague statement that Kakashi makes about Yamato being the only junior that he recognizes as his equal, but at the same time, it's very likely that Kakashi was just, like, joking around so he can make Yamato, like, pay for his ramen. So, it's like, does this man Yamato actually scale to Kakashi? I doubt a lot of people would think that way. So I guess the most charitable interpretation I would give is like, is Kakashi all that much stronger in Shippuden than he was in part 1? Like, obviously he has the Mangekyo, he might have a few more abilities, but is he really like physically stronger and faster than he was back then? And that's really up to your own interpretation, but that's going to be like the biggest point of contention in this video.
Yeah, I think we can agree that like there is some like physical strength buff that he had, but it's mainly just his chakra reserves had gotten, more extensive since part 1, where he's able to use more jutsu. I mean, the second bell test is a clear example of that, because he's able to leave his Sharingan open for a longer period of time than he did in part 1. So that on its own is just enough to say that he had a chakra buff to some extent, but that's about it. So, again, to get semantics out of the way, Loco and I were kind of in a pickle about how it would kind of go in the beginning of the arc, more specifically the Tenchi Bridge, how it would have gone, because obviously what happened in the main series is that they run into Kabuto and Orochimaru, and Naruto pretty much takes one look. Here's just one sentence, really, from Orochimaru, and it sets him off into the Four Tails. And, again, Yamato doesn't do much, kind of going back to this, because Yamato pretty much just let Naruto transform into the 2 to 3 tails, and we just weren't sure why he did that, but we're needless to say that Kakashi probably wouldn't do this in the same situation. So like, he would probably put a tag on Naruto like right as he saw the 1 or 2 tails, and if that is the case, then they don't really stand much of a chance against Orochimaru and Kabuto together. Kabuto is pretty much said to be around Kakashi's level in part 1, and whether or not you still think Kabuto is still relative to Kakashi at this point is, up for debate, but I don't think they do too well against a Sannin and someone who's at least mid-Jonin level at the very least. Loco, you got anything?
So, when it comes to Kakashi facing off against Orochimaru in Yamato's place, it's kind of like a catch-22. Like, if Kakashi faces up against Orochimaru, he's still probably gonna lose. Like, I'd say he got stronger, like LightningSnow was saying, but not strong enough to go from, like, just remember where he was in part 1. Like, he's seen Orochimaru, and he's quite literally, like, he just gets completely fear-hacked. He is, like, losing his mind. He's like, bro, what am I doing? Why I'm facing off against one of the 3 legendary Sannin. So if you think he's made, like, such crazy leaps and bounds to the point where he can actually take on someone that was fear-hacking him just a few years ago, then by all means be my guest. But at the same time, if he lets Naruto, like, go all out and go wild, he really doesn't have a way of putting him down, unless you can think he can manage to put on that tag that Jiraiya gave onto his forehead, kind of like he did during the Kazekage rescue arc. But once again, he did that to, like, a 1 or 2 Tails Naruto and his version 1 Bijou cloak. Like, version 2 Naruto is, like, slapping up Sannin like Orochimaru and Jiraiya. So I don't know if Kakashi would even be able to land the tag on Naruto's forehead after he goes into his version 2 state. So the best option for Kakashi is to, like, slap the tag on Naruto's forehead before he begins to go into his version 2 state and hope that Orochimaru just loses interest and goes back to his hideout.
Which is pretty much what we're going to have to go through, you know, again, to be generous and, like, to have this scenario play out. So, again, not to put semantics on this video and just say, like, they follow the Orochimaru and Kabuto to their hideout. Kakashi maybe summons his ninja hounds and, you know, tracks their scent or whatever. Or Kabuto's scent, since they can't really track snakes. So yeah, they follow, you know, them to the hideout, and things pretty much proceed as normal. You know, there's a big explosion, and they reunite with Sasuke. And instead of Yamato perceiving, you know, when Sasuke asks the question, he's like, "So I assume Kakashi's here too?" Kakashi just, you know, stumbles out, and yeah, that's like, it just, you know, the Team 7 reunites, you know, all together. So I told this to Loco, I think the scenario definitely would play out a little bit better in the team's favor, just because, you know, no disrespect to Yamato, but Yamato, as we see, doesn't really effectively lead a team on his own, specifically a team that he's never really worked with before. But this Kakashi not only is more proficient with leading teams, this is his team. Like, I'm pretty sure, like, it just, he's their teamwork really is a lot better than what it would be, you know, in any other situation. So the benefit of having Kakashi here also is that he is the only one in this group that would be able to counter Sasuke's lightning style. Because as we know, his lightning style specifically was really the biggest problem in that fight. Now, obviously, Sasuke has more than just lightning style, but again, it was like everyone was literally stunned mentally and physically on, you know, Sasuke's lightning prowess. It was kind of ridiculous.
I think at that point in time, Sasuke had just, like, when he pulled out the Chidori stream, like, Sakura was like, "Oh my god, what is this? He's shooting lightning out of every point on his body." And he just takes down, like, basically all of Team 7 with just that one stream. And he just proceeds to, like, look at Naruto and suppress the QB chakra. So obviously, like, Naruto isn't going to be able to access his extra reserves during this fight, because we've already seen Sasuke put it down in canon, like, in the story already. So at that point in time, it's like, I don't want to be, like, mean to Sakura, and I think she's very strong. Like, she was kind of making Kakashi, like, really scared during the bell test and Shippuden, when she was, like, breaking the ground and everything. But the moment she sees Sasuke, she kind of just becomes useless. She just kind of, like, standing there looking at him like, what can I do?
Yeah.
Right? So at that point in time, it's really just going to be Sai and Kakashi against this version of Sasuke, who's already, like, kind of demonstrated to be a tier above them.
Yeah. And so, like, you know, going back to the Sakura thing, like, maybe, because we never really got to see what Sakura would have done, you know, because Yamato kind of pretty much got in the way as soon as he thought Sasuke was actually going to kill her, which is up for debate. But still, the point is, we never really got to see what she would have done had she proceeded to actually fight him. So I told Loco, like, maybe, you know, as funny as this would be, like, maybe she just kind of, like, punches the ground and makes him lose his footing a little bit. But, you know, that's probably to the extent of what she'd be able to do. And so, yeah, like I said, it would be just Sai, Kakashi, and as I said earlier, like, Kakashi is the only one that can counter Sasuke's lightning style. And before anyone, like, says that I'm being a little too generous to Kakashi about it, like, Kakashi, you know, not too long after this arc, was able to counter Kakuzu's false darkness, his lightning style false darkness attack, with just one, at most 2 Raikyuris. It's kind of debatable whether or not he used 1 or 2, but still, like, Kakashi did say that all the jutsu that Kakuzu was putting out was, like, high level ninjutsu, So that lightning style attack was no joke. Now, I'm not putting Kakasu's lightning style necessarily on the same level of Sasuke's at this point, but the point still stands. Someone in the comment section on that clip that I had mentioned earlier did say something that I thought was very out of the blue, but I get what they were coming from. Someone says, so like, again, Sasuke's, was perceiving to pretty much solo the entire team. Whether or not they'd still be able to do this with Kakashi there is, up for debate. I think, like, maybe if Sasuke and Kakashi were to square up a little bit in taijutsu, that it may go, like, evenly with Sasuke maybe having a slight edge. But the point is that at some point, Sasuke would do the same thing he did in the main series and be like, all right, well, I'm done with all you. And just, proceeds to use Kirin. Someone in the comments started to say that, like, well, can't Kakashi just use the lightning blade to cut Kirin like he did against the lightning strike that supposedly he cut to earn the nickname the lightning blade? And when I saw that, I was like, I think that's being very generous, to say the least. Now, I get what they were coming, but Kirin is not just a lightning strike. It is a lightning strike and then some. It's literally a lightning dragon. I really can't see the lightning blade even being able to touch. Like, maybe I'm sleeping on the lightning blade, but I don't know. Kirin's a completely different story.
So basically, when you see Kirin come down, it destroys the Uchiha hideout and basically the entire forest surrounding it. Like, it's not just a lightning bolt, especially because it has some crazy statements about it being able to move like faster than the speed of light. I don't know if y'all would actually agree with that, but it's just heavily implied and just basically proven that Kirin is not just like a lightning bolt. So I don't know if you'd really be able to say Kakashi would just be able to cut it up. I want to say Sai is going to do something here because he has some pretty good statements about him. Like when Danzo first assigned Sai to Team 7, he's like, you surpassed your peers in this regard. Like, he's talking about Naruto and Sasuke. So Sai should be stronger than these guys at the very least. But we kind of see Sasuke just kind of like laugh at him. He's like, this guy is my replacement. Like, he's supposed to be like the newest member of Team 7. Like, Sai just really isn't able to touch Sasuke like that. So like LightningSnow said, it would just come down to Kakashi versus Sasuke. And now, I don't want to downplay Kakashi, but there's just not much he can do here. Especially if you want to go along with the interpretation that, like, Kabuto was relative to Kakashi during part 1. It's stated by both Jiraiya and Orochimaru, if I remember correctly. If that's the case, like we see, I think this is one of the most funniest things I've ever seen. I believe it's the last chapter of part 1. We see Sasuke, after defeating Naruto, he's walking into Orochimaru's hideout, and he says something to Orochimaru. He's like, shut up, all I want is your power, or whatever. And then Kabuto leans down, he's like, hey, you better watch your mouth, don't say that to Orochimaru. And then Sasuke just looks at him. He just looks at him. He's in base, no curse mark, no Sharingan active. He looks at Kabuto, and this man Kabuto is like so scared. He's shook. He's like, what is this chakra I'm sensing? And just by Kid Sasuke flexing onto him. And of course, this version of Sasuke is clearly a lot stronger than the one we saw in part 1. And of course, he still has access to his curse mark versions here. So it's like, if you really want to believe that Kakashi isn't that much different, and you can say that he is, I'm fine with that. But that's still like pretty crazy that someone that was relative to Kakashi is just kind of getting pretty scared of someone like child Sasuke while he's in base.
Yeah, I agree. And the thing is like, if it came down to the situation that was presented in the main series, like I said earlier, because again, at that point, Sasuke was just like, all right, well, I'm done. And he proceeds to launch Kirin. Now, the thing about Kirin in this situation, as opposed to how it was when we first saw it against Itachi, was you could make a few, assumptions that, one, it'd take longer to actually charge up Kirin, because Sasuke wasn't making a rainstorm or a thunderstorm, because when he did that specifically because he was pretty much drained of chakra. So the thunderstorm helped him in that regard, so he didn't have to use any more chakra unnecessarily. But also, you could say that might take Sasuke a little bit more time to charge, if that is the case. Now, I'm not giving this benefit to Kakashi all that much, because again, Kirin's super fast, so it would really just be, the benefit of the doubt if Kakashi's quick enough to perceive it before it's launched. If he sees what's about to happen, and assuming that Kakashi isn't on kill mode, if we're assuming that the gloves are on, so to speak, like he's not really wanting to kill his student, which is totally within Kakashi's mindset, then what Kakashi might is, if he's able to perceive what's about to happen, or has a good notion of what's about to happen, Kakashi might be quick enough to Kamui Sasuke's arm before Kirin is launched. I know, or at the very least, maybe disrupt Sasuke from using the jutsu. Like, I know Kamui is not really as fast. Like the Kirin section, if Sasuke is able to perceive Kamui quick enough, because again, it's not as fast as it is during the Pain arc or even the War arc, then at the very least, I feel like it should disrupt the jutsu. But I feel like that's about it. And before anyone says, like, you don't even think that Kakashi would even go that far in taking the arm, like, I don't know, the rest of his students are in danger. They're threatened by a giant lightning attack, whatever that attack is. So Kakashi might, take that chance, even if it is Sasuke. So, I don't think he'd be too reserved on taking an arm if it means that Naruto and Sakura could be saved. That's my thing. Is really it all comes down to whose attack would, prove beneficial. And I'm kind of with Loka with this one. I honestly think that, for the most part, Team Kakashi doesn't have any chance. Even with Kakashi there, Sasuke pretty much curb stomps them. No trouble.
For the Kamui argument, like, Deidara wasn't able to get away from it, but he was able to get away from, like, a Shunshin blitz attempt from heavy Sasuke. Granted, it was Sasuke when he was in base, and, like, when he begins to use the curse mark, he is just kind of, like, superior to Deidara in stats. But he was, like, there's the fact that he was able to dodge Sasuke, but not the Kamui. It may be because it's a black hole or whatever, but I wouldn't sleep on Kakashi's Kamui, even at the beginning of Shippuden. But the thing is, Kakashi isn't going to be going for a Kamui snipe here. Like, it's blatantly obvious that he doesn't want to kill Sasuke until, like, the 5 Kage Summit, which is when he actually resolves himself. And he's like, my student has become a terrorist. Like, he killed the Hokage, he attacked the Kage Summit, he tried to kill Sakura. Like, it's my burden, I need to take him down here and now. Like LightningSnow said, you could argue that he'd go for an arm just to save his own students if he senses something big coming. But you could also make the argument that Kakashi's going to be mentally nerfed throughout this fight. He's going to be basically suppressing himself, because at the Kage Summit, he says, now I finally understand what the 3rd Hokage went through. And what he's referring to is whenever Hiruzen was kind of holding back himself when he was fighting Orochimaru during the Konoha Crush arc. Like, if Kakashi is holding back at all here, it just makes his chances a whole lot worse. He could go for a Kamui snipe, and I think he would be able to land it, at least on Sasuke if he's in base. I think that's a very charitable assumption. I don't know if there's much else he can do. Like, Sasuke is just better than him in pretty much every other regard. Especially when you consider the fact that just an arc later, he's telling Naruto, he's like, you're side by side with me, or even surpassing me. Like, has Naruto finally surpassed me? He's thinking all this. And granted, this is from when Naruto unlocks the Rasen Shuriken. Once again, in this arc, when they're facing up against Sasuke, Naruto is thinking to himself, I'm so weak. What have I been doing all these years? So really, I gotta agree, there's not much Kakashi could do here. Even with the Kamui, you can still make arguments around that. Sasuke is just insanely hacks at this point in time, and we really see that in what he does to Orochimaru in just a few arcs later. But once again, I've come on this channel repping my boy Sasuke. It seems that's what I'm known for. But I was glad to come on here.
Yeah, and before we, like, the best case, the second best case you can make for the Kamui Kirin, section is that, like, if Kirin is launched, because someone did say, like, if Kirin is launched, Kakashi should be quick enough to, even if it is at its slowest right now, Kakashi should be quick enough to Kamui Kirin. Again, like with the Lightning Blade, versus Kirin section, I get what they're trying to say. At this point, I can't in good faith say that Kamui can absorb all of Kirin. Like, I don't think Kakashi is proficient with enough to be able to do that. At best, he mitigates some damage from Kirin. Like, maybe the destructive force still knocks them back or something, or damages them to the point where they can't really fight back. Kakashi specifically, because him using Kamui in combination with some, like, I don't know, destructive force that follows Kirin, I think Kakashi is going to be not feeling too hot at that point. So, but whereas this Sasuke, I don't know how much, chakra Kirin would take, this Sasuke, right off the bat. But I imagine it probably wouldn't take too much chakra. I gotta be honest with you, I'm not entirely sure how it stacks up against it. So I gotta play devil's advocate here and say that, Team Kakashi still gets curve stop at the end of the day. Even with my boy Kakashi, he definitely has better analyze skills than Yamato, definitely better team leading skills, definitely better strategic, planning. But even with all that said, not to mention, Orochimaru and Kabuto are still technically there. So at the worst case scenario, they're still getting beat by all three of them. So
it's just like a lose-lose scenario for them. Like, even if they beat Sasuke, like, the only way that Kakashi can win is with Kamui. and that's if he resolves himself to take down Sasuke. And then there's just like Orochimaru and Kabuto like waiting to like run a train on them. I guess they're just like hanging around the back. Oh, Sasuke's down. We got to go save him. And then they just like wipe up the rest of Team 7 and head out.
For all the people out there who think I'm just a total Kakashi stan, which I understand you think, but hey, look, I presented my case. I don't think Kakashi wins here. I think he gets curb stomped at the end of the day. So I know the thumbnail would be subject to some clickbait. I just wanted to make my opinion out there that, hey, even in certain situations, I don't think Kakashi comes out on top. I definitely do think he gets curb stomped here. But there is that chance, just because it is Kakashi, that something good might come of this arc. Maybe they make it out with Sasuke losing an arm. I don't know. So yeah, that's pretty much going to do it for the video. Loco, thank you for hopping on the channel with me again.
Of course. I just love coming on here, you know, wanking Sasuke every opportunity that I can get. But yeah, thanks for having me on, bro.
Not a problem. So thank you guys for joining for the video. If you've watched it all the way to the end, make sure you like and subscribe. Be sure to follow, like, and subscribe on Loco's channel if you haven't already. Until my next one, LightningSnow, out.